Hello, how are you? Hope you're doing great. My name is Piluso and I'm going to be checking out today the MiniFreak. That's a new synthesizer from Arturia that came out today. This is a crazy one. It arrived yesterday. I'm freaking out like the name says it. I haven't had enough time to dive too deep. I'm going to show you the unboxing and also I'm going to show you like different presets that come with it, a little bit of the layout and how it works basically. And then we're going to pass some audio through it, like a drum kit and a guitar, because this synth allows you to do that and it's amazing. Stay tuned, check it out. I'll leave below the time codes so you can skip to your favorite part. I hope you enjoy it. So this is the Arturia MiniFreak. This is a digital synthesizer with analog filters. So behind we can see a quick start guide and a little bit of a manual, even though you can find the full manual at their website. In this video we'll be doing first impressions, but at the same time we're going to be covering most of its main features. So it comes with a cardboard box. Wow, it's here. I love opening new stuff. So the first thing you have to do, of course, is register your product. And it also comes with like a quick start guide as well. So this synth weighs about 4 kilos. It brings a USB cable. I wish they brought a USB-C because my computer is USB-C now. And it also brings adapters for every kind of part of the world. So it has MIDI in, MIDI out and MIDI through. USB port, of course. A sustain pedal input, clock in, clock out, reset out, then an audio in and a stereo output. The smaller version, the MicroFreak, is mono, so this one has stereo effects, that's why it gets to be a stereo synthesizer. And also it's very robust and it has a great feeling to it. Let's have a look at its main features. So up here we have the oscillators. So we have a dual digital engines. Combine and interwave two engines for stacked sounds and compound sonic behavior. Engine 2 can also act as a digital filter to process Engine 1. So inside of both engines we have different types of waves that you can actually combine, and we have 3 different knobs to actually be able to control how each of the engines sound. So you can go from classic analog to crazy digital sounds. So up here we can find the matrix, which is very easy to use. It's exactly the same as the one that comes in the MicroFreak, and with this knob you just choose which feature you want to control. So for instance, if I want to assign the LFO1 to the cutoff frequency, I just have to select it, and after that you'll see in the screen the amount that you would like to choose for the modulation. We also have a glide knob and we have octave selection buttons. We also have a shift button which allows us to go into secondary functions. So whenever you see blue writing, that means that if you press on the shift button, you can actually access those functions. Then we have like a ribbon for the pitch and the modulation. And the modulation, wherever you leave your finger, it stays there. Like any kind of original wheel on a synthesizer. So down here we have all the sequencer and the ARP, which we're going to dive in just a little bit today. Not so deep because I just received this synth and I have to study it in depth. Up here we have our analog filter, which we can choose between a low pass, a band pass. We can see the graphic right here, and we can also choose a high pass, which will take out all of the low frequencies. Down here we have a cycling envelope, which means that every time the envelope finishes, it repeats, which is great for doing like crazy sounds. For instance, this is a great synth for doing soundtrack because it has all of these great textures to it and all of these random sounds. So we have the rise, that is like the attack. The fall is like the decay, and we can see the screen, how it looks. And now we have the hold and sustain, and we can choose between envelope or loop. And if you have it in envelope, it's like a normal envelope, and we have the attack and the decay and the sustain. So up here we have our normal envelope, ADSR. So attack is how long it takes the node to start. The decay determines the length of the drop from the peak level to the sustain level of a sound. The sustain phase does not specify a length of time. Instead, it determines the volume of sound for entire hold time between the decay and the release phases. And the release determines the speed at which the sound ends from the moment you release the key. We can also choose if we want the synths to be mono, polyphonic, paraphonic, or unison. So up here we have the digital effects. We can choose 3 different ones. So we just select the first one, for instance, and we can now choose the type of effect we would like for this kind of sound. So we can choose chorus, flanger, phaser, distortion, delay, bit crusher, EQ. We also have a multi-comp. The good thing is that this synth will also bring like a software, like a plugin, which you can use to control the synth from your computer. And that means that you can recall them like in a very easy way whenever you like. So this software is not available yet. It will be coming out shortly, probably in the next few months. So keep your eyes open in case you decide to buy a MiniFreak. So let's explore some of the sounds that come with it. So if we press shift and we move this knob, we can actually toggle between the different types of presets. So we have like actually bass, brass, keys, lead, organ, pad, percussion, sequence, effects, strings, and we also have other presets for like external ins and things like that. So let's listen to some strings. So let's now switch to sequences. So whenever we choose a sequencer, we have all of these parameters to modulate and choose from, which is really exciting. I want you to hear this ratchet function. So let's add some effect. Should we add some bit crusher? Maybe. Oh, let's add a bunch of reverb now. So let's explore some other sounds now. I fancy trying out some percussion. So the only kind of criticism that I'm finding with this synth is that it's a bit noisy. And I actually like noise, and it's sometimes good for some kind of beats like lo-fi bits and stuff. But the problem with this is that if you start layering sounds, you'll get like a huge bunch of noise. And it'll be cool like for next firmware if they can look into this. So we have some kind of 808s here. Let's check out what else we got. Let's now hear some pad sounds. So let's try to destroy this sound a little bit. So I'm going to go back and choose all. So this synth actually has an audio in, so that means that I can plug in a guitar or plug in some of the outputs from my Pro Tools. So I'm going to choose a drum loop. So I have to configure this, go into the last option on my oscillator, and to be able to hear the loop, we have to press a key. So I'm going to press hold to be able to leave the note on. Now I can start modifying my sound. So if I press shift and go into sound edit, I can change the threshold from which it reads the external input. Or I can actually grab that guitar and pass the guitar through the MiniFreak. So I hope you enjoyed listening to the presets and the sounds that you can make with the MiniFreak. If you have any questions, please leave them below. I'll be trying to answer everything. And let me know if there are any cool ideas for videos that you like me to make. My name is Piluso, and I'll see you in the next video.